There we
Good
go.
morning, everybody. Sorry, I was on the wrong page. It's Jane Johnston. Welcome to the Greater Victoria Real Estate Show. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, and I am here with my good friend.
Hey everybody, Andrew Plank here with the Vibe Collective and Royal LePage, and it's good to see you all. And unfortunately, well, we will have Jen with us soon, but she wasn't able to make it right for 9:30.
So, how's your week been?
Yeah, it's pretty good, decent. It's been, I've been taking it slower as we've hit like height of summer, trying to get some of the last bits of squeeze some last bits of use out of the sunshine while we've got it. I mean, what do we work for if not to have some time to ourselves? And it's been a little slower, but it's now. Yeah, I'm also feeling the urge to get back to work. I'm a workaholic. I don't know why.
That doesn't sound like you. You,
Okay,
you're.
I'm always thinking about work.
I'm always thinking
I,
about work too. I dream about it, but also you're. I think you've always been very balanced. Like it's
mm,
one thing I admire about you. So.
oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I love work. I could sit and look at it for hours.
But
That's the joke. That's the joke. Never. It's a joke. I love work. I could sit and watch it for hours. Yeah.
okay, well, today we're going to be talking about what $1 million gets you in Greater Victoria's housing market, and I have some interesting information to share with you besides the homes that I discovered today. So we'll get to it in a moment.
Okay.
And when Jen comes, we'll just pop back to the financing information on the
Yeah.
mortgage.
We'll bounce over to that.
So
Okay.
7 day market watch. Andrew, what's up?
Yeah. So in the last 7 days, we've had 244 properties listed. That's versus 277 the week before. So we're down a little bit week over week.
Hmm.
111 went pending versus 152 the week before. 128 price decreases versus 135. That's pretty much a wash. It's not a big difference. 42 expired versus 62 the prior week. So
Slow. I read slow,
slower for sure. Yeah.
which is to be expected in the last week or two of August because I have noticed in local parks, especially, there's been a lot of people just hanging out and really enjoying the summer. So,
Of course, just like I was, expressing myself, people's are they're not as consistently engaged in looking. And if you were looking for something for, let's say, for your student child at UVic, you probably hopefully found something by now. If you're in the middle of some sort of, there's a lot of transition time that happens right now as well as we go into over this coming long weekend. So I always feel like this is a good time if you were going to take a little bit of your foot off the gas.
like in work or life, or
Work and life for sure. Yeah. From a real estate perspective and just I don't expect it to be busy. Of course, if I have clients in need of things, we're hopping to it. But I just don't find that there's as many people, pursuing or pushing for quick action at this moment in time. A lot of the conversations I'm having are around, preparing for next spring, perhaps for those people who are listing, seeing what might happen in the spring, or talking about doing something in September after the long, after we get through the long weekend and into September.
we
So
work with totally different clients.
yeah, we do. Yeah.
I have some people who have just like a few groups who have just sold, and so now we're looking for homes with them, and so we are hopping to it because I don't want them to be homeless. So I guess it depends, like when the sale happens and when you're looking. It's a good market right now to look though. Oh, my dog is begging to go outside. Okay, I'll
Are
just do
you
this. Hmm?
Well, I mean, our markets do definitely shift based on, our clients' needs. And if we have clients, like you can sell two homes and have two clients looking to buy it desperately, and you have to be actively on that. But are you not expecting to see more inventory come September? Are you not finding that it's a little slow for new listings coming live? I mean, we just talked about the stats. So it's uh, the expectation is there's going to be more happening come September. And I tell my clients not to sweat it that they're not finding something right now, because come September there's going to be some more selection.
Yes, I agree. So hold on.
Yeah.
This little person here
Let's
has to go out right now.
let's get your dog out the door. Okay.
Okay,
I'm going
okay.
to move. So I'm going to continue on here. We have in front of us our sales to listings ratio. And so the percent of sales versus properties listed in the last week was 45.49%. And that's down from the week before, 54.87. So again, the number of sales per listings has come down. So again, it's a little bit slower in this last week than the week before.
So I just want to go back to that. Yes, I do have clients who are looking, and yes, I'm trying to tell them that there's going to be more product coming on the market next August, next week,
Next week.
after the long weekend. However, when you're looking and you're in the moment, it's hard. So it's,
Well,
you can only deal with what you have in the moment.
you're absolutely right. And when they're, if the right property lists this week and it's sold by next week, you need to be taking action this week. No question.
Yeah. So I'm trying to take some time off this weekend. We actually just had I posed a question in our chat group and at our brokerage. I'm like, do you put new listings on this weekend or not? And the answer is, uh, I would wait, because there's going to be a lot of people who
Yeah.
are there's going to be a lot of people who are going away, but there are also going to be a lot of people who are visiting. So the question is, what's the balance here?
Visiting people, I don't know about you, but I find visiting people can be curious, but they're not, if they're here visiting on the long weekend, their express purpose is not to buy a house. They probably would have arranged a separate buying trip for that. And so there could be looky-loos. There might be some people curious, but they're just in the investigation phase, if anything, on a long weekend, for
Right.
the most part, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So total net unconditional sales this month so far, we're at 399. That's pretty low compared to 545 for August of last year. New
Mhm.
listings were at 856, so that's also low compared to 1,043 for August last year. And total active listings, we're at 3,621 right now, which is awesome because that's not so high, but I expect it'll go up. I don't want it too high because I want the market to be brisk for my sellers.
Hmm.
And we had 3,191 August last year. So
August last year. So we're definitely up over last year, but we're not. We're definitely down over some of the what we were seeing last in the spring. Because I think we reached 37, 3,800.
yeah, we're at 3,800, which
Yeah.
is
Okay.
great for buyers. Although, like relatively speaking, we're still in a balanced market at that time. So
Yeah.
it was,
Balance swinging on the side of buyer's market. Yeah.
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 Okay. So what does $1 million get you in Greater Victoria? And Andrew has provided this lovely map here. Can I get
Oh, you
that?
want me to put that on stage? I'll do that. Let's go with full screen on that one because it's yeah. I put together a map. I've also got some listings, but Jane also has curated some listings. We both independently did this, no consultation between each other, and we don't really know how we're going to do this. But I'm sure Jane has an idea. But
I
you
I
know,
picked one house per area that I liked.
mhm.
So,
So I've got a range, all over the board, including out to Port Renfrew, to show what your money will buy in certain areas. I didn't go with specific, I actually have nothing out of Gordon Head, even though you might find something in Gordon Head. But let's go with your list first, and then see if there's time for some of the stuff from mine to kind of show the range.
Okay, so here we are. I picked 17 listings all across Greater Victoria. And I sort of thought we could just go into it super quick and see. So this is a West Saanich Road property for $995. This is what you would get. So it's half an acre, just over half an acre, and it needs work. And it's right between two busy roads. So then in this one on Saanich, I thought this was quite a nice property. It's on Gorge, $995. And it's got the older floors.
Right. So 4 beds, 2 baths. It's on a quarter-acre lot, so it's a good-sized lot. It's almost 1,900 square feet. It's a freehold home. It's not a strata. So
Got,
$1
got a
million.
lot of it's got a lot of original fixtures in here.
Yeah. Now you wouldn't have found this in 2021 for this price. 2021, no. 2022.
This one's in Victoria on Denman. So this is in Fernwood area. 1995 built.
Do you want to expand the photo size here while you're going through this? Just so we can see the photos.
I don't know if I can do that. Can you?
Yeah, that worked.
Yeah. Okay. So it looks like somebody's updated it at some point. This is definitely original floors here.
Mm-hmm. Stucco exterior.
Yeah. And a nice tidy home. This one's in Oak Bay. I found something on Foul Bay Avenue.
I found a house in Oak Bay for $1 million. Not on a busy road. I'm telling you.
What did you find?
Just wait. I'll show you.
Check out that old tub there. Isn't that beautiful?
Love it. Beautiful clawfoot tub. As a tall person, I love those tubs and that nice reclining back on those. Those are great.
You're a bath person.
Some updates. Yeah, from time to time, I like to have a bath. It's nice to have a soak, and I like to read.
So that was 1908, but somebody has obviously updated it. This one on Hughes came up, so at $999. Look at that big living room, beautiful deck. So you can see as we move slightly out of the core, we're getting more choice here.
You don't have the option to show these on a map for folks, do you? When you're sharing this?
I can do that. I can do that. So here, this is the map.
Okay.
But
I'm gonna go large screen as well there. Yeah.
Okay, so we can see this is just a thumbnail view here, but what it's showing us is there are options out here, and the further out, the nicer you're going to get. So the one on Winthrop is it's a development property. It's subdividable. It has a bit of an ocean view. This one on Kangaroo is right beside a busy road. It's also at the bottom of a big hill. But I wanted actually to just show you this one in Sooke on Driftwood. Where is it? Right here. So just to show you, you get a great value in Sooke. Got a big lot.
Nice looking fireplace. Nice open design. Vaulting ceilings. Yeah.
Yeah. Really lovely.
Newer construction.
And the design element is there. Consistent flooring, beautifully presented. Good job. So that one is at $999. But what I wanted to show you, hold on a second, is this. Let me just get it up. But here, actually, you go ahead and I'll find mine.
Okay. All right. So, oops, just need a couple of. So we've got, let's go with, so as I said, I kind of was looking around here at different properties in different areas. Did find $1 million property in Oak Bay.
Oh,
And it's just near the water. Isn't that
nice.
amazing?
Oh yeah, I
But
saw this one.
yeah, but it could use some work, just a little bit of work. Uh, it's kind of original,
Yeah, got
and
character.
it does have character. It's got potential, right?
Yep.
Um, but when you do look at that, let's pull that back up here. Uh, it's a 1 bedroom, 1 bath house, and it's 651 square feet. So I would
Hmm.
say if we were to, do compare and contrast here, uh, that's something that's one way to go about it. And then you could also say, um, you know, as Gene was alluding to in Sooke for $1 million, you could buy yourself, a newer property, maybe on an acreage, in pretty decent shape. There's a few different options out to Sooke. You could even go out to Jordan River and buy yourself, recreational property. Um, I believe this is on, let's just get some details.
How many square feet is that though? Like, it's small.
This one in Port Renfrew, it's 1,200 square feet. It's 2 beds, 1 bath. But in terms of lot size, it's a couple acres. What's that? Almost 3 acres, 2.62.
Yep.
So, but you're driving a little further. That being said, you could also go out to Shawnigan Lake, and for $1 million, again, you get
Oh, I
yourself
picked that one too.
a little bit more of a rural property.
I like that
And
property.
isn't that nice? Yeah, it's got some character. It's got an interesting feel to it. You could come up over the Malahat, and we said Greater Victoria, so you could go up to Arbutus Ridge area, which is
Yes. If you're
a
55
nice
plus.
subdivision if you're 55 plus. This is strata, but they're, I believe they're freehold strata, so
Well,
they're
they're
land strata.
yes.
But you've
So
got some beautiful views and some decent homes out there. You could go out on the peninsula, buy yourself a townhouse
yes, I
out
picked
in
that one too.
Sydney.
Hmm.
Did you? Yeah.
Well,
Great minds think alike.
there were no single family homes in Sydney under a million, but there were lots of townhomes.
I beg to differ. There's one right here. There's Sydney house, not a townhouse. It's a split level construction, decent
One.
updates. Actually, I found a couple. I just didn't include them all.
Oh, I'm gonna look. Maybe I
Yeah,
took
I
them
was
out.
searching between 975 and 1,025,000. I didn't. I gave it a
Oh,
bit of a
okay.
broader range. Okay, so um, in Brentwood, you've got houses and townhouses as well around a million. It was interesting what you could buy downtown, um, downtown Victoria. Some townhouse options, some really interesting tower options, beautiful condos.
Okay,
You know,
but
there's a
let's just wait a minute.
mhm.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. So the reason why I was just focusing on single family homes is because if we're comparing, so this is actually a great conversation because if you're looking at a single family home, you're paying your taxes, let's say they're, I don't know, anywhere like 2 to 5,000, depending on where you are. So
Mhm.
2,000 maybe
Yeah,
in Port Renfrew. But if you are looking at a condo or uh, some other strata, like a townhouse, you are adding $500 or $600 a month at least. So I wasn't looking at anything other than single family homes for that reason.
I think you need to communicate more clearly when you say what will $1 million buy in Greater Victoria. I include other forms of real estate. For
Okay,
example, this beautiful condo at Rainbow Hill. That was the haul. So Jane, continue on with your side of the story here.
Um, okay, so here's what's interesting. You're right. I was not very clear, but I was looking at single family homes. Here's what's interesting is I did a search and I looked at price changes and I looked at everything between 990 and $1,010,000. And what I found was there were a number of properties that were priced over $1 million. And you can see here, these are the dates on the right here of when they did price changes. So they actually came down. So the price on the left here, on the column on the left, is actually the current price, so around 999, 995. But they all
Mhm.
started just over. So there is still that psychological barrier of $1 million and getting under it. And there was a lot of choice, and there are changes. So these numbers, 988, 950, those are actually the sale prices of these homes. So you can see what they started out with
Right.
at $1,075,000 and selling at 988.
Yep.
You know,
This
one.
definitely this goes back to the challenge of today's technology, where people are set up on searches that um, may go to a specific number, and it's usually a fairly round number, like $1 million. And often people say, "Well, I'm going to look up to $1 million and don't show me anything above that." So they're not even seeing, if you listed $1,001, your property is not being seen by a percentage of the people looking because it's $1 too high.
Yeah, and so which speaks also to these ones priced at $1 million, because what they're trying to do is get people looking up to 1 million. So it's a Boolean search, is what he's saying. You're either in or you're out, one or a zero. And so there are some people who are looking at $1 million or more, right?
Yeah. We have
So
such a nerdy show. It's just so funny.
okay, well anyway, there you
Okay.
have it. There's lots of choice out there,
So
guys.
so it's a soup search with the Boolean.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you are looking, I'm just gonna put this back on. Um, you can see there are lots of properties that are available to you. So just wanted to reiterate that. Like, a lot of people get depressed about what's happening with the market, but uh, and the other thing is sometimes there are choices there that you don't realize because your search is maybe a little too narrow. So keep it wide and then narrow it as you go in. When you suggest?
That's Yeah, it's definitely a thing I suggest to my clients is, if you've got a specific criteria you're looking for, um, it's a really good idea for a number of reasons to look a little bit beyond that. And one of the reasons for that is, let's say you're looking up to $1 million and that's all you can afford. That's the maximum that the lender has said you can purchase. But there's a property out there for $1,025,000 that would be of interest to you. Well, they might take an offer, or they might come down in price at some point. And if you weren't really aware of it to begin with, you haven't kind of prepared yourself for that. You might see it spin on market for a while and go, I think I'm going to take a stab at that one. Also, you don't get the sense of the entire scope of the market by looking just in your own one little window. So when you look at a little bit of a wider window, you see what's coming, what's selling. You get a better sense of, hey, these properties, I'm seeing these properties for another 25,000 are significantly better than the price point I'm at. And I actually can afford more. I just didn't want to. So maybe I
Right.
should consider going a little higher, or maybe I
Well,
should consider driving a little further.
the other thing is that, as we see, there were a couple of properties that were listed over $1 million, and then they reduced the price. They reduced the list price. So if you can get in there before the listing realtor reduces the price, then you can possibly get the deal before anybody else does. So
They're
sometimes,
willing to accept $1 million when they reduced that price. Before they reduced that price, they probably were still willing to accept $1 million if you'd had the conversation with them by bringing an offer.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's not to
For sure.
say that if you see a property for 1.2 million, that you should expect it's going to get down to 1 million.
Yeah. You want
Right?
something within a reasonable price range. So you're looking at days on market. You're looking at, I call it price elasticity. So you're going to have more price elasticity the longer it's on market, closer to the list date. Like if you're going to go in on a property that's priced in $1,050,000 and ask $1 million on day 1 or 2, you're not going to get it. But maybe after 3 weeks, there'll be a little bit of flexibility, and you'll get some money off.
It's all, it's a matter of reading the room quite often. And sometimes you do see a property. There's also, people do sometimes kick tires, test the waters, list too high. They know they're going to have to take less. I have seen properties that sell, pretty much right away at, 25, 35,000 under asking because somebody just brought an offer and the seller went, yeah, sure. I don't want to
Yeah,
deal with being on market for a long time. You don't know the motivation of people always, but in a general sense, when it's first on market, there's a lot less elasticity.
pe-
Elasticity.
people are unconsciously asking about motivation when they say, "Why is somebody selling?" Or they're asking, when do they want to move? Or they look at the pictures on the wall and they're trying to figure out the story. So this is why staging works. Like we want to kind of neutralize it. We want people to picture themselves in there and not start questioning about what's happening with the sellers.
You want to neutralize the story that people are telling, especially if it's a negative story, if there's a divorce, a death, an illness, some sort of unhappiness going on. If we can neutralize that by staging, we take out the hints of those questions that cause people to either see opportunity and try to take advantage of it,
Hmm.
or get turned off by some of that story because some people don't want to buy into something where there's a negative story. It's quite often we get asked, has someone passed away here? Is there, what's the story here? And it's because or has this home been neglected? Um,
Right. Jen just messaged she's gonna miss this.
she's not able to make it. Okay. I figured it's been, yeah, we're already at 10 o'clock. So it's been half an hour. She's not here. We
Okay.
missed you, Jen.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
Well, it's just interesting that, $1 million, we should have done actually what $800,000 will buy, because that's a really interesting um, uh, one. At $1
Comparison.
million today, there's actually some options for some decent starter homes in the core, some real fixer-uppers in some of the really more popular higher price point areas. If you're willing to look at different forms of ownership than single family and look at maybe a condo or a townhouse, there's definitely options there.
I'm
And
finding
by
the big,
going,
I find the biggest difference, like between you were talking about 2021 earlier and now,
yeah,
is it was like this. Like this was a range. Now we're like this. We have way more choice now.
can you explain that? What do you mean by like this versus this? And maybe use words so that our audience who's listening and not watching could understand.
Our range, it was very unusual in 2021 to find a property under $1 million. 2022, actually, probably. But so the range of price was maybe 1 million and up to like 1.5. And then there
Mm,
was a lot of competition in that price range. And now I
right.
find you can even find a house at a lower range, around 800 is what you were saying, and I agree with
Yep.
that. But there's also a lot of product in the higher range as well. So our average has maybe stayed the same range, but there's more choice.
You're saying so the price range. Okay, right. The range has expanded as opposed to being compressed. I
Yeah.
think I understand what you're saying. I'm
So
working with some folks who, are looking for, like, they were complaining a little bit that the market has softened, partly because they've got a home that they'd like to sell. But when you talk about the fact that the market has actually softened and they're looking to upgrade, those homes that we were looking at before that were 2 million, 2.2 million, now maybe you're going to be finding for 1.8 to 2.
Yeah.
And so although their property value might take a hit as well, it's going to take less of a hit. So that delta, that distance, that difference between what they are looking to sell for and what they're looking to buy, unfortunately, nobody wants to feel like they're getting less for their home, but they're actually, their money's going further. And
So
if they were to take advantage of this time, they would do quite well.
I call that the slinky effect. It's where there's a bit of a compression. I think that's what's happening is the lower market is going down, but it's not going down as much as the upper market. So then when it rebounds, it'll go higher. The upper market will go higher and the delta will be bigger.
It's a good thing to watch because there's definitely, there's more of a spring in those areas where there's less buyers. When the market gets hot and more buyers start to flood into that higher price point market, it goes up more quickly. But when the wind leaves the sails, to just change analogies, it falls back down much more quickly. So there's a lot more appreciation and a lot more opportunity in that, and a lot more risk too. But some folks do win out by doing that.
And what we learned during COVID and what I've seen now over many years is that there are weekends when things just flip. And it's just a very busy weekend and a lot of properties are selling. And like COVID can happen and change the market. Or, Trump comes online and changes the market. Or there's a rate announcement and changes the market. Like you just got to stay vigilant.
Well, there's the black swan events that you eventually will happen, but you can't necessarily predict. Okay, those are the big ones that really impact our market for positive or for negative, and we know that something could happen. We just don't know when or how or what. It's just there's a big earthquake, or there's a dramatic change to some sort of legislation that makes it easier to buy or harder to buy. Remember, so Kent Deans, when we both got licensed, he's retired now, but he worked for years in the business. He talks about the 1980s and when, they'd had this run up in the 70s and values were going up and everybody was buying. And then suddenly, it may have, it did happen over time. It didn't happen extremely suddenly, but it did happen that interest rates came up quite significantly. And suddenly he says the tap turned off. He says the tap turned off. That's the way he described it. And nobody was buying and nothing could sell. And there was a period of time when people were losing their houses and realtors were going bankrupt because nobody was buying or selling. And people were losing their houses because people couldn't afford their mortgage payments. And it was a really, really horrible time for a lot of people to deal with homeownership. And we don't always know when another event like that's going to come about. But then you also had, like, we both got licensed in the early 2000s and we saw such a rapid price appreciation before we were actually licensed. And I think maybe that's one of the things that got me into the business was watching just how much things had happened.
Do you remember though, when we took our licensing course, Michael Ziegler said, "You guys are at the end of a good run. You just missed it."
Yeah.
And I think we had about a year and then 2007 hit and it was a bit rough. But if you don't know what you don't know, you realize people are still buying and selling homes. So I don't know. I think we both just continue to just work it, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think it was like another agent that we used to work with, and I can't remember. I remember their name, but I'm just not going to quote any names right. Another name, but I can't exactly remember it was the real estate agent's prayer, which was something like, please God, give me yet one more real estate boom. I promise not to waste it this time.
Yeah, because it's funny you say that. I was watching this video yesterday on Instagram, and there was somebody during COVID, and they were all, a bit arrogant, and then now they're like sleazy realtor. Please buy and sell with me. Whereas before it was like, get in line, buddy. But I really,
Right.
yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to watch the character of people when they have power and whether or not they're wise with that use and gracious, actually.
Yeah. My dad has a quote, says power corrupts. Well, we know that the power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. But my dad likes to say that, um, when people in power, I can't now. I actually can't. I'm gonna have to find that quote. I'll bring it back next week.
I'll give you my dad's quote.
Yes,
The
please.
higher the monkey climbs, the more he shows his
Right.
butt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to be, you have to be, um, I, with any power or with anything, you have to be responsible.
I think, I think I'm guilty of this. I think most people are guilty at least of being tempted by this, where when you do get really busy in a busy market, you do sometimes forget that what you do to get somewhere is what you need to do to stay there, right? But
Mm,
when the market is just really busy and business is coming your way, you do have to say no to some business, and you do sometimes. I think a lot of agents, their self worth comes from how busy they are.
mm,
And so the busier they are, the more self worth they have. And once it gets slow, they start to question their own self worth and their abilities and so forth. And you have to just remember that this is a long term business, and you need to
yeah.
remain consistent in your giving of good service and support. And it will come back to feed you over and over again if you help. It's about giving, right? It's about feeding and helping your clients. And if you're consistent, if that's your mindset, then you'll never go hungry. You might have some
Mm,
periods of hunger, but you won't starve, that's for sure.
mm. Interesting. I agree with that. It's funny when I get comments about people saying you've been in the business a long time. I'm like, every day is the first day, really. Just answer the phone. I'm amazed. Um, Recently, I've dealt with some people who are newer to the industry who just don't, like, I ask a question and I get an answer 24 hours later. And the thing is that real estate is a very emotional business. People buy emotionally. So I
Yeah.
think, you have to be a little more responsive and answer the phone a little more quickly because there's a lot of anxiety in not knowing the answer to questions. And so it turns buyers off or on, depending on how responsive you are. And there is a balance. What you're saying is, you take time off. I try and take time off. I also have a busy family who, you know, isn't always, they work when other people are taking vacation.
Right.
So
So it's
it's,
hard to everyone to be on the same page for vacation and so forth. Yeah.
yeah, but you have to, I think, anyway,
Well,
you know, just
I
be kind,
agree.
everybody.
Be kind, and you're right. If we can reduce the angst of our clients by picking up the phone and answering an easy question that for them is very that's keeping them up at night.
It's integral
But
to
something
their search or whatever.
we can walk them off a cliff. We can help them understand something that they were misunderstanding, and they're not sitting there marinating in that overnight. Then it's worth it to pick up the phone and do that. And we do need to have some boundaries. I get text messages at 5 in the morning. I get phone calls at 11 o'clock at night. And, I do sometimes let it go to voicemail, and I don't always pick up the phone. I do want to create some boundary on that. But if I know that someone is going through some angst or there's a problem, I'm going to address it. I'm going to do my best to address it in the moment. It
Hmm.
saves everyone a lot of time and trouble later.
What you're doing when you do that is you're giving people the power over their own decision making. So you're giving them the information they need to move forward or walk away,
Yeah. So
you
this is
know.
interesting. If anyone of we have younger, newer agents listening to this, I know it seems like there's a mentality of hey, I'm only going to work so much, or I'm going to have my own boundaries and my time, and I get to be the master of my own domain. Uh, I can do what I want when I want, and I'm going to have a great business, and life's going to just work out. And I hope that can be true for you. But we do when we sign up for real estate, and of course we're not first responders. We are not doing such amazing work that some people do, but we do. There is an expectation that we provide service and we be of value. And I don't think you can do that part time. I don't think you can do that without systems. You can do that part time, I should say, if you're part integrated into a very good team. But you can't do that on your own and provide good service to your clients. I just don't see it. I don't believe it.
I totally agree. And I think, there are ways to be in this business without being on the front line of sales. So you can work for a developer and you can, you know, not
Jane, you and I,
YouTube.
neither of us are extroverts. I mean, you are much more extroverted than I am, and you push yourself out there. But I wouldn't call you, maybe you are more of an extrovert, but there are people out there who
Maybe I'm not.
consider, maybe not. There are people out there who don't want to go into this business because they feel like there's a stereotypical realtor that they're supposed to be. And,
Mhm.
you're going to find your tribe. If you have people that you relate to and can relate to and relate to you, they're possibly going to be your clients. And you don't need to be something to everyone, but you do need to be able to provide service and help those people uh, accomplish their dreams. And you
I
can't do
really,
that.
I really agree
Mhm.
with that. Like, I really think that it's interesting to watch. I watch people come into the business and see as they look at different brokerages and they look at different people and they associate with different people and then they like end up here. Or, somebody you think, okay, well, you're maybe a little more introverted than the average realtor. Maybe you won't do so well, but they always find the people who need somebody like that to support them. Like there is somebody who needs that kind of a realtor who's going to, sit down and maybe they're their only client for, the month or two, and they have the listing skills to have the in-depth discussion, or they are a fast talker and they're going to turn somebody on or off. Like there are people, everybody has a certain personality style, and they're going to be people who are attracted to that, and they're going to be attracted to their coworkers. So it's just interesting to see how people really sort themselves out in our industry and where they end up and who they end up working with. Like we both started out with Pemberton Homes, and it's been interesting to see over time how some people we work with have gone back to that company,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
and they feel like they're going home.
Absolutely. Yep. Because it's a great community and there's great supports. And, real estate can be a lonely job. And especially if you're in a brokerage that is very focused on sales and numbers as opposed to culture.
Yeah.
And, I think if you can associate yourself and get to know other colleagues, this business is not just about um, it's really not just about getting to know a bunch of the public and converting people to be your clients. Um, you could be loved in your community, but if you are abrasive and not don't work well with your colleagues, you're not going to do well in real estate either.
Hmm.
You need to
I
be
think
able to balance a lot of different elements of life. You're laughing. You're
I'm
getting
laughing because it's
philosophical.
really hard to say. It's really hard to to get this without offending anybody. We're trying to be like, so I'm just finding it funny. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like will find like. And it's like when you're at a party, right? You're gonna drift over in one direction or another, and you're gonna hang out with. You're gonna end up at the end of the night with people who are similar likes and dislikes, and they're money focused, they're people focused, they're counseling focused, they're
Yeah.
solution focused, they're problem
And if you,
focused.
and if you don't like parties, maybe you're at a paddleboard meetup club. Maybe you're gonna find your tribe and you're gonna do okay.
Yeah, you know where I
And
find my tribe? On the dock,
yeah, that's right.
rowing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well, I think
And
we've
truthfully,
probably, would you say we've talked this out? Everybody's got a sense of what $1 million buys in the Greater Victoria area. If you don't, happy to send you more information in general. Um, right now, $1 million is a lot of money, but it also does buy a lot more than it used to. Um, and again, real estate's a fun career. It's an interesting career, um, and it's not for everybody. And there you go. So that's the gist of our conversation today.
all
I just
right.
wrapped
And
it
I
up for
think
you.
that picture says it all. This is what Andrew really thinks.
That's the eyebrow up look that I give Jane a lot. What are you doing? What?
Anyway, okay, I've had fun today. If you like the show, please give us a like. Thanks to Colleen Milne today. Shout out to her for
Oh, right
liking our
on.
show. Don't forget to subscribe to us on our YouTube channels. We are going to be having our own YouTube channel, Greater Victoria Real Estate Show. And comment. If you have any questions or wanting information, please let us know. And don't forget, as Andrew said, if you know anybody who needs this kind of info, please pass it along. And Andrew, how do people reach you?
I'm with the Vibe Collective at Royal LePage, and my number is 250-360-6106. You can email me, info@andrewplank.com. I am fairly responsive, even not always 11 o'clock at night, but I am fairly responsive. I try to be very responsive.
And
You
if in
can
your
find lots of resources online at andrewplank.com and at the team website, realvibe.ca.
and if you're in Quebec, you can contact him through Royal LePage. Jen Lowe's not here today, but she's with the Modern Mortgage Group. You can reach her at 250-217-4925 or jen at jenlowe.ca. And you can download her app, Yasker. And you can reach me at thebriarhillgroup.com, or you can reach me by email at jane@briarhillgroup.com. My number is 250-744-0775. And if you want to follow about lifestyle, please contact me at Instagram, realtyteacher_remax_Victoria. All right, you guys, have a
Excellent.
great week. We'll see you next Thursday at 9:30.
Thanks, everybody. Good to see you.
Bye.
Nice, Jane.